Montel, the conflict started right in the house, it seemed.
But you know what, I gotta tell you, there's so much more that needs to be said. You read a couple of excerpts from some of his texts. One of his texts said, when asked, how long have you been thinking about this? A week and a half. It wasn't, I've been thinking about this for the last year and a half. He said a week and a half. If we're gonna believe what he said in other places in his text, why not believe that?
What does that say to you?
What it says to me is that I think there are people who are trying to pigeonhole this as a leftist thing and a right thing. And what we're really talking about, hear me because I'm going to throw you when I say this. We're talking about a love-torn child, a kid. This is probably his first real relationship, and somebody was disparaging the person that he loved. He sat on that building for 30 minutes before he took the shot. Why did he wait until the first word trans came up? Then he took the shot.
You think he heard it? He could hear it?
I think he could hear it. I think he also, I don't believe he was motivated politically. I think this was motivated emotionally. I think this was a emotionally stunted person who literally, when I say it this way, just hear me, tried to defend his significant other, not trying to defend some ideology.
But although I do think there's clearly an ideological difference. So that's why I played about what they said about the family. I mean, the ideological difference that he was reacting to wasn't just Charlie Kirk. It was also maybe his dad. I mean, his father was, according to him, MAGA. So that conflict was there, clearly.
But this is a young man who's dating a person in transition. And I'm a conservative father, and I question, let's say, my daughter brought home the first guy that she brought home. I questioned the guy that he brought home. She brought home. Was the dad questioning him politically? Is this a political motivation? Or was this a psychological kind of thing?
I guess I don't know that we'll ever get into fully the minds of what happened here, but it is really horrible that Charlie Kirk was murdered by this person.
Absolutely.
Like, full stop, end of sentence, horrifying. And whether there are plenty of people who have conflicts with their parents who don't murder people. And, you know, I just think, like, we should all just acknowledge that it was a horrifying, terrible thing, and he deserves punishment for what he did because he took the life of a person. And, you know, I just think it's a little complicated to look back and, you know, say he has a conflict with his father. Lots of these things happen, and they don't result in just the end of a life of a father who had children.
Guys, the evidence here is overwhelming. He said, Charlie Kirk, I can't stand this hate anymore. I'm going to take him out. The testimony from him and the statements of his family, he had become more left wing. He etched the statements that are made by the left about Republicans and conservatives and Charlie Kirk fascist on the bullet casings.
He made a joke about it in his last text.
Well, it doesn't sound like a joke to me because someone's dead.
He made a joke about it. It was a joke. It was a joke. When people say that, hey, it was a joke, that means that you didn't get it. That's why people say, hey, it was a joke. Well, who was the joke meant for? That's what I would ask Montel. Who was the joke for? It was a joke. Oh, okay, who? It wasn't for me. It couldn't have been for Charlie's wife. It couldn't have been for Charlie's kids. No. Yeah, but it was just a joke. It was just a meme. It's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean it was a joke? For whom? These people are without a soul. They are doing everything in their power now that they have to wrestle with the fact that, yep, it's one of your own. And by the way, this is not some fringe ideology in the Democratic Party. No, this is mainstream ideology in the Democratic Party. You don't have somebody that's, wow, that person really on the fringe. No. Ask any Democrat in leadership that they don't identify with exactly what this shooter believes, that a man can magically become a woman. Every person in the Democratic Party, in their leadership. This is mainstream Democrat Party. This is not some fringe, and they refuse. This is one of the reasons they lost the election. They just won't come to terms with it.
About to be buried.
Well,
so it doesn't sound like a joke to me.
mean-
So I'm just telling you, there is an effort. There was an effort all weekend long on the left to try to make this guy sound like he was a conservative. That failed.
Everybody said that he was right wing. Why? Well, his dad is mega and his wife is mega, his grandmother is mega, so he has to be. No, it's not. How does that make any sense? I can understand that if you had other corroborating evidence that would show that, yeah, clearly he's like one of the mega supporters. He's a really Trump guy. A Trump guy does not assassinate one of Trump's biggest allies. So they are so desperate for him not to be one of their own. They'll do and say anything.
That was passed around all over the weekend. That has now failed. The evidence has now come out. He was motivated by hate. He was motivated by left-wing radicalism. He got mixed up with some trans ideology in his life. We'll learn more about that, I'm sure, when more evidence and
more evidence is going to come out. I don't know that you guys know this, but Kash Patel said because Josh Hawley was asking, well, were there like 20 people? Because that was the thought, that there were 20 people. Kash Patel was like, no, there's way more. And my guess is it's in the thousands. It's in the thousands. I mean, once again, this isn't fringe politic for Democrats. This is mainstream. This is all of their top leaders believe in this ideology. They won't say anything other than. So the thought that somehow, no, it means that they have to come to terms with this is something that you created. And as much as you want him to be a Trump supporter, he was not. And then it gets even more disgusting.
We have seen an alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate, who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And on the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner. So
he was speaking so lovingly about his partner. Hey, you don't understand something. Bonnie and Clyde, that was really, you guys are focusing on the wrong thing. All the people that they murdered, that's immaterial. It was a love affair. That's the thing that you should be really touched by. The way Bonnie and love Clyde. We are living in different universes. We live in a different universe. And so here's the thing about, because people this is the drum beat. We have to unite. We have to unite. Well, how do you unite with someone who tells you 2 + 2 is 18? We're talking about basic fundamentals. Male, female. We're talking about basic stuff here. How do you unite with this? And by the way, you tell me. I don't, because I don't know. How do you unite with people who don't believe in basic arithmetic? And if you say that you don't, that you believe in basic arithmetic, if you say that 2 + 2 is 4, you're a racist. You're a fascist. You're a Nazi for believing 2 + 2 is 4. How do you unite with those people? And why won't Democrats denounce this? Look, it gets worse for them. And it's not going to stop. From LA Times, ABC drops Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely over host Charlie Kirk's remarks. They can't help themselves. They can't. I mean, by the way, I'm glad. I'm 100% glad. Walt Disney co-owned broadcast ABC said it is pulling Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely following sharp backlash over the host's remarks about slain right-wing activist Charlie Kirk. The move comes after station owner Nexstar Media Group said it would yank the show from its ABC affiliate stations as a result of the comments. The Irving, Texas-based Nexstar announced Wednesday that Kimmel will be off its stations for the foreseeable future. Quote, Nexstar strongly objects to recent comments made by Mr. Kimmel concerning the killing of Charlie Kirk and will replace the show with other programming in its ABC affiliated markets. They can't help themselves. Look what he said. Kimmel said during the monologue on his Monday program that Tyler Robinson, the Utah man accused in the shooting death of Kirk, might have been a pro-Trump Republican. He said mega supporters are, quote, desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. Really? Is that what we're doing? Yeah, it's been yanked for the foreseeable future. You're done. You're done. You're a ghoul and you're done. These people, they can't help themselves. Don't you understand? It was really touching. The love notes. By the way, the texts, I didn't think about this. I really didn't. It's after listening to others. He calls him my love. I just know I don't think that's the way 22-year-olds talk to one another. Seriously, I'm just saying that I don't think that's how, please delete. Don't. It's almost as if they're setting this up so that he can't be accused. Please delete this text. Look, I know 22-year-olds don't talk like that. Hey, I could be wrong. Couples always have their own little, lingo and how they, act with one another. And yeah, that happens all the time. And maybe that's true of them. Fine. Even if that's the case, I don't care about the love affair. Okay, I don't care. I don't care about, I don't like my dad. There's a bunch of kids that don't like their dads. That doesn't give you the right to go out and take another person's life. And these ghouls that just they can't let it go. Their hatred for Donald Trump just shadows everything they see. And so people are getting fired. It's like, look, if you didn't like the guy, it's like, okay, you disagreed with him, fine. I'm sure that if I were to listen to everything Charlie Kirk has ever said, I'm sure I could find something that I disagreed with. I'm sure. I don't agree with everything Trump does. I don't agree with everything our AG does. In fact, I think Pam Bondi needs to go. That doesn't give me the right to take someone's life. How? So Montel Williams, this moron on ABC, it was so touching. I don't think that any of us were expecting to be touched. Well, we weren't. The one person that was touched was Charlie Kirk. He was touched. His wife was touched. His 2 kids are touched. You people are disgusting. All right, that's it for now. If you like the video, smash the like button and subscribe. You know what? Sometimes I can't. Some of this stuff bugs me to no end. Like there's no remorse for human life. But when you have a culture where life is just tossed aside because it's inconvenient, crap like this continues to happen. I as a person who grew up without a dad, I know what his kids are about to go through. It's not pretty.